Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Supply Chain Management and the Supply Chain Distribution Resilience Project. Our team consists of myself, Ben, Sam, and Crete, and we have chosen for you today rare earth elements as our case study. So please sit back and relax as we have prepared a presentation video for you. Thank you.
Do you see this part of the periodic table? These are lanthanides and actinides.
Just in time to learn about lanthanides! Lanthanides!
Better known as rare earths. They power everything in your home, from your phone to your laptop to the satellite that beams your navigation directions down. If you have a piece of high-end technology, you are likely holding a piece of rare earth. Now, rare earth is a deceptive term, as rare earths aren't actually that rare. They exist all over the globe, from iron mines to the bottom of the ocean. They just don't exist in great concentrations. Whereas with a good iron mine, you would expect to find 1 kilogram of pure iron for every ton of dirt, with rare earths, you'll be lucky to find 1 gram of material for every ton of dirt. There used to be rare earth mines all across the world, in Russia, in India, in China, and even the US. But in the 80s and 90s, China made a strategic decision to dominate the rare earth market. The Chinese state mining companies put aside environmental regulations and started dedicated rare earth mines, to then sell them at a loss back to the rest of the world, as Beijing could see that rare earths would be the elements to power the next wave of warfare technology, like smart bombs, missiles, robots, stealth fighters, and just basic high-end computing.
Any extended conflict, China controls the outcome.
There's 57 pages of weapons systems that the U.S. is 100% dependent on China for. These don't even include the stuff that the soldier in the field carries, his communication or targeting systems. All of these also require rare earths. There's 100 systems. Every one of them is 100% dependent on China. We need to find...
To build an F-35 fighter, the US requires 290 pounds of various rare earths, as well as a number of components that are made from rare earth elements. This means if the US wants to build an F-35, they would need to have part of the plane now built in China, meaning that if war were to break out, China could withhold components the US needs to finish construction on their fighter planes. Without a cooperative China, the US can't build any missiles, planes, aircraft carriers, or even smart bombs. You often create radioactive byproducts, such as thorium, meaning the whole operation will be incredibly costly and require a lot of safety precautions. But this isn't the main problem, as the US doesn't have a single industrial rare earth refinery on its shores.
Of the rare earth production. Now, United States is at 12%, Myanmar at 10, Australia just under 10 at 9, Brazil with 5, and then a clump of other nations make up about 4%.
From electric vehicles to mobile phones and even fighter jets. However, China dominates the supply chain. As relations between the US and China deteriorate, Western countries fear they don't have an alternative, which could have serious implications for the future of manufacturing.
Between the US and China over the last 18 months, one of the threats from China has been to stop the export of rare materials.
And currently irreplaceable for modern devices such as electric vehicles and mobile phones. They are also vital for the defense industry. China threatened to impose sanctions on Lockheed Martin, the biggest US arms manufacturer. This has prompted the US, Australia, and the EU to step up efforts to create an alternative supply chain.
We want our companies building those products right here in America.
It's a geopolitical tool during the trade war with the US.
China has been taking advantage of the United States for many, many years.
When the Trump administration threatened to cut off supplies of chips and processors to telecom giant Huawei, Beijing said it was a threat to its national sovereignty and warned that it could stop the export of rare earth materials to the US.
They're used by American manufacturers to make high-tech products like advanced batteries that power everything from hybrid cars to cell phones.
Told members of Congress how important it was economically. They didn't get them excited. So then we said to them, look, it's undeniable that rare earth issue is a national security issue, right?
We have national security being threatened by us buying it from what is arguably still called in very conservative circles our enemy, China.
Few years, 80% of US rare earth imports have come from China. And that's an issue because of concerns that Beijing could cut off access to the US.
In California, was the world's leading source of rare earths. But a successful push by Beijing to become the global leader in the sector means it now produces about 80% of the world's rare earths. In July, the Pentagon provided funding to Lynas and US-based MP Materials to design heavy rare earth processing facilities that could be based in the US. The US and Australian governments have also signed an agreement to source new rare earth deposits to boost security of supply.
U.S. Department of Defense contract to build a new plant in Texas. It would process rare earths needed to produce military weapons and electronics. Once these expansions are finished, industry analysts expect Lynas to produce a quarter of the world's concentrated rare earth.
Why the West needs to begin producing its own supply of rare earths. And all
Pretty much every mine is already mining rare earths. Every iron mine, titanium mine, phosphate mine, they're all producing ore that contains very large amounts of rare earths, but what they're doing is throwing that ore right back into the ground.
Federal law requires defense contractors use U.S. or allied parts and components. So, can the Defense Department object on some theoretical ground, but say that we want to maintain a status quo where every day, every defense contractor in the United States is violating federal law?
Actually, the US government, the US cannot send its military to war without heavy rare earths. And at present, the only place in the world that separates heavy rare earths is China.
Ending up with products which are sold on the basis that they're good for the environment. Well, that is absolutely no good if we trash the environment along the way.
Extensive amounts of state support, subsidies, tax rebates. The help of government is absolutely essential to allow this coordination to take place.
Government support is starting to come in. Last year, the Trump administration's pandemic aid package included $800 million to fund rare earth research. The Biden administration also said it's reviewing the supply chain to protect U.S. interests.
China's market advantage evolved from NRC, IAEA, resource classification changes.
Unquestionably, rare earths are already a matter of national security for the United States. The issue becomes an order of magnitude greater if Trump or Biden push for made in America electric vehicles and wind turbines.
Hello again. I hope you enjoyed our rare earth metals video. Just going to do a quick recap of our main points for our project before we let you go. And all right, let's kick it off. When it comes to the scenario, I hope you got out of it as much as we did, that China is overwhelmingly holding the purse strings to worldwide domination on rare earth metals, as the U.S. imports 95% of its processed rare earth metals from China, which creates a huge national security impact. We are completely reliant on a potential enemy. This has been known for quite a long time, one of our main points for them to fix. When COVID-19 hit the world sector and went worldwide, at the same time, our government had trade wars with China over disagreements because of the pandemic. We will not get into politics, but this set off a huge supply chain management problem worldwide when it came to rare earth metals. Throughout the heart of the pandemic, China and the United States went head-to-head trade wars over rare earth metals, along with a lot of other things. Sanctions, tariffs. There was also threats of cutting off rare earth metals, which we are completely reliant on with our electronics, automotive, and defense items. Our team recommendations would like you to leave with the rare earth metals to be added to the law for buying U.S. products. A certain percentage of items bought by the U.S. government have to be made in the U.S. Companies have gotten around this by using different statistics to use for their percentages, but we'd like it added in as a subline, especially along with, we'd like the United States to start looking at home growth of rare earth metals, making it eco-friendly, process them reliably, and for the future. Also, we'd like the government to fund, just like the infrastructure bill, just like Australia has been doing, to get that infrastructure up and running so we can process rare earth metals. Australia spent over $4 billion just to get theirs. Lastly, we'd like the United States to take a chapter out of China, as they are a generationally forward-looking country, and we usually look only 3 to 4 years around the political. Thank you, and our time is up, and we'll take any questions you have.